So we recently had the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, and I have thoughts, and I thought I would share them. Let's break it down. First of all, well, I guess now I'm glad it's like legal that you can beat up the elderly. I mean, that's a good thing. So if I feel like punching a 75-year-old man in the face, I mean, I don't think I'd get arrested for it. Maybe it has to be a boxing ring. I don't know. But anybody who didn't think this was going to be a shit show before it started, you were delusional. Jake Paul was always going to win this. I was listening to people before and being, well, it's Mike Tyson. He's like people. He's the scariest guy on the planet, Mike Tyson. Yes, Mike Tyson, even now, he's 58 years old. He's almost 60. But even now, for his age, could kick several people's ass probably about my age, who aren't training to be boxers, though, or like, what I mean, lifting tons of weights. Like, I'm not in great shape or anything like that. Mike Tyson would fuck me up. But there's like 3 Girl Scouts I could think of that would, make me cry and kick the shit out of me. So, I mean, it's not saying that much. But these people that were just like, well, they kept holding on to this idea of Mike Tyson from 1980. Listen, I'm going to go back to 1988 when I was 12. And Mike Tyson was in his prime. Like, he was coming up, knocking everybody out, scary, biting ears off. And that's just how it was. But then I think in relation to me, like 12 to 48. There is a big difference. I just got pubes. You know what I mean? There's a time things happen to your body. You change. Like now, I've had the pubes for a long time to the point where they're annoying. When I first got them, I thought they were kind of cool. I actually wanted to show them to people because I'm like, I'm officially a dude now. And now it's just like, I got to get Manscaped. And, because if not, it just turns into a fucking like forest with like a little turtle's head sticking out of it, looking every now and then. Like I don't like now all of it's a pain in the ass to me. Okay, when my voice went deeper, like my voice used to be super super high and everything. Back when I was about 12, even I had a squeaky voice still. 13, 14, I had a squeaky voice still. 15, it decided my balls finally had to drop and I'd get like something of a male type voice. I don't think I have the best voice, but whatever. So, when I was 12, every time I sat up, I didn't go, oh, I do that now. So think of the differences, even though as well trained as he is and all that with Mike Tyson, did you honestly think it was going to be like he stepped out of a time machine versus a 20, what's the guy, 20, Jake Paul is like 27, 28. Okay, let's start with Jake Paul, his opponent or the one, I don't know who set up the match. I think it was Jake Paul. Here's my problem with Jake Paul. I got several problems with the whole Paul thing. I don't like the Pauls. I don't get, they're another bunch of people, and there's so many of them on YouTube who have podcasts that are successful. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, Joe Rogan. I don't understand why he's successful. He's not funny. I don't find him engaging in interviews, but he's got a bajillion followers. So that makes me think there's something missing within me. There's the same thing like with the Paul brothers, like Jake Paul and Logan Paul, I believe is the younger, maybe. I'm thinking. I don't know who's the oldest or whatever. But I don't like either one of them. And yet they have a bajillion followers, and anybody who goes on their podcast eventually has a bajillion followers. And I'm like, well, what is it they do that drives these people to want to see them? It's not like they tell funny stories. It's not like they do. The one I know Jake Paul from is a long time ago that he rented a mansion and was bothering his neighbors by just doing obnoxious bullshit. And when the reporters came to ask him about it, he had a famous line, which was he pointed at the reporter's shoes and goes, "What are those?" That's not even a joke. He asked him what his shoes were. I guess that was a diss. Ooh, that was a sick fucking burn. Anyways, between the two Pauls, though, I do have to say, Logan Paul actually seems like, I'm not saying Jake Paul's stupid. I'm not going to say that. Okay, let me put it like this. I think Logan Paul could read a 7th grade, level book with no problem. All right? I think Jake Paul may struggle through Cat in the Hat. I just think I've got that feeling about it. I think he may, he may be one of those. It doesn't seem like he has a lot going on up there. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is with him, but he's just never seemed very present. Like, I don't know. I can't see having a 2 hour long discussion with him about anything because I think eventually he would just say mashed potatoes over and over because his brain would be overloaded. Like, nothing's there. There's not a lexicon. There's not verbs and a lot of adjectives to go with, Jake Paul. He get big, me fuck a girl, fighty time. That's as far as Jake Paul's like knowledge goes. Now, I'm not going to take away from the guy. The thing about the scandal with Jake Paul is that he's fought a bunch of what other people call scrubs. Now, I'm not an expert on the fight arena, so I've listened to other experts like MMA people and boxing people, and they've basically all agreed that he picks his fights very wisely because he knows he'll be able to beat the person. Because he's big. He's a huge guy. I think he's like 6'6" or some shit like that. He's a massive guy. He trains his ass off, so you got to give him that. He works out like a fiend. He's disciplined in that way, so you got to give it up for him. And he must be serious about wanting to be some kind of boxer because he does it. He trains. He boxes. He works out. He puts a lot of time in it when he doesn't have to. I mean, the guy's rich enough now where he can just sit there, and drool on his podcast and people would still probably watch it and he'd be fine. He's set for life at he's not even 30 yet. 27 I think he is. And so it's like this whole thing, people are like, well, he set himself up. I think is one of the people I know was an ex-MMA fighter who'd been retired for like 20 years. And I think the guy was like 40 already. And I remember seeing the weigh-in for that one. And the guy looked kind of pudgy. Like he wasn't fat. But MMA fighters usually, before they go into like a fight, like I'm thinking Diaz and I'm thinking like McGregor, they are ripped. You look at them and like, just like me as a regular guy, like how the fuck, I could be in the gym for fucking 2 weeks straight, or 2 years straight, and I would never look like that. I would never have, I don't even know what that muscle is, but I'm jealous he has it. You know what I'm saying? But this MMA guy who fought him, it's kind of had he kind of looked like a guy he picked up like from a bar or some blue collar. It wouldn't surprise me if it was like, he's not an MMA guy, he's a plumber, he's going to fight. I'd be like, oh, okay, I can see it. I don't know why we're doing this, but whatever. He fights other YouTubers who aren't boxers and everything like that. One of them, I believe, is close to his age. But he basically fights people. It never fails. And I'm not even in Chicago anymore, whatever. But he fights people who he knows he's going to be able to beat. Jake Paul went into this knowing he is not fighting Mike Tyson as Mike Tyson was, as Major Mike Tyson, who would have kicked the shit out of Jake Paul. If it had been the 80s and Jake Paul had been 27 and Mike Tyson had even been in his 30s, Mike Tyson would have killed him in the ring. Like, Jake Paul would have twitched and bled from every orifice after the first round. Before the first round was even, I don't even think he would have made a round. All right. So just to think that like people were rah, and I can't believe all these fucking people who were sitting there bitching and be like, well, I was watching Netflix and it was live and it was buffering. I just couldn't believe it. And I was so upset. I couldn't believe that Jake Paul won. And he was buffering. I was so mad I missed the fight. I didn't bother watching the fight. I didn't bother watching coverage of other people watching the fucking fight because I knew, 27-year-old who is really well built versus a retired, or I guess he came out of retirement, boxer who in his prime was excellent, who is still good. It went the way I thought it would, which is still impressive for Tyson. Mike Tyson went the rounds with him against a 27-year-old. I don't know why people were expecting Mike Tyson to bite his jaw off and just, they had it like Mike Tyson was going to be fighting a 7-year-old girl. Like, if Mike Tyson had fought a 7-year-old girl and this, and he had gotten beat, I would be absolutely shocked. Yes. If they said this little, second, third grade bitch just beat the ever-loving fuck out of him, made him go 5 rounds, I would have been like, and then, she won, I would be like, holy fucking shit. The guy's 27. What the fuck are we doing now? And there are certain people I'm just like, now I'm not positive, but didn't he fight another MMA person? and the MMA person that he fought was only allowed to box. Well, that kind of defeats the person since it's MMA that they are professional in, which is mixed martial arts. It's not just boxing, it's kickboxing, it's, chokeholds, it's all that shit. So, and I think that guy lost to him. I could be wrong, or maybe I'm thinking of the same MMA guy. They weren't allowed to use all their skills. So he hasn't fought someone who either was just as well trained as he is at his age, who were able to use all the skills that they knew. Here's what I want to see. Here's when I will finally just shut the fuck up and be like, okay, I'm impressed. Because I wasn't impressed that he was beating up an older guy. I'm sorry. It didn't do anything for me. I sat there thinking, yeah, it makes sense on fucking paper. I want to see him get into MMA. And I want to see him up against someone his own age, or a professional boxer even right now, his own age, or give or take a couple years, who has been doing this for a long time and will really show the flaws and that he's just an amateur at the end of the day. Because he is. I would love to see him train and get in MMA with like Conor McGregor or Khabib or something like that. That one, there is no way in hell he would win those. Jake Paul would be knocked even more retarded than he already is. I mean, that's just what would happen. Now we got to talk about the fight itself and this is why I don't watch fights. Like, there's been a few fights in my life I've been interested in. Is the 8,000 fights you have to watch before the main fight to even get there. Bunch of people I never heard of. Did I pay to see those people? No. Did I sign up to see Jeremy and Schmeremy, girls slap each other for about, 5 minutes? I don't care about these people. Why can't we ever just have a main event? Maybe just one match before. Okay, one match. I'll even give you that. But we can't just have a main event. And then when we get to the fucking main event, we got to do little biopics of both fighters. Jake Paul, we got to learn his whole entire life. We got to see slow-mos of him shadowboxing for 30 minutes. Then we got to go back to Mike Tyson. Get to the fucking fight. What in the fuck is this? I bitch enough about that Nicole Kidman, that cunt's ad before every AMC, because it delays the movie for me, just to see her sitting there telling me how great movies are. But in a fight, it's 10 times worse, because you got to watch mini movies about the fighter. You already know. If you're into it, you know. Why do you have to remind me? Get their asses out there in their little silky robes. I don't want to see a whole big presentation. Just go to the ring. Don't walk all slow. Get there. You're being paid $1 bajillion each. I'm talking about multiple fights I've seen. Back to like Ronda Rousey days. Oh man, didn't she get hers? It was so great to see. That Holly Holm fight was my favorite fight ever. I just loved it because I always knew she was an asshole. And Holly Holm, as bad as she's done since, at least kicked the asshole out of her for a minute. That was great. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Jake Paul beat up an older man. So yay, fucking yay. I mean, I don't know. I want to see better fights. I want to see Rosie O'Donnell versus Donald Trump. I want to see that. He's not president yet, so I think he could still do it. That would be an interesting fight. I'm going to bet on Rosie. Lesbians, especially butch lesbians, will fuck you up. So, I mean, who else can we do? Let's get some old people. Let's do Joy Behar versus, I don't know, Barbara Walters Corpse. Someone can, puppet string it, like that. And Joy Behar can come out there and just kind of, knock a jaw off or something like that. I mean, let's do some really interesting fights. Eugenia Cooney, Skeletor herself, versus the now skinny, evil, nefarious Nikado Avocado. I would pay to see those two girls have at it. In a minute. I mean, first of all, Eugenia wouldn't be able to make it into the ring. I'm wearing my Mickey Mouse gear. I'm 34 and perpetually a child. I don't know why. My mommy keeps me locked in the mansion. Eugenia Cooney even fighting a dwarf. I would love to see it. He's just going to beat her knees in. That's all he's going to do. I mean, she's got no cartilage anyway. And she's gonna be Eugenia Cooney throughout the whole fight. I've never seen the girl really, really get mad. Even when she's mad, she can't help but smile because her teeth are sticking out of her fucking head because she's a skull on a stick. That's all she is now with a bad wig. And yeah, sorry I go on, but yeah, the fight went like how I expected it to, and I didn't understand the hubbub up to it. And I didn't understand, I still don't understand all the posts trying to analyze what went wrong. A young guy, half his age, not beat the shit, but beat up an older man. Yeah, sounds about right. Jeez.